we have to address it. It's I really don't want to bring up the bad memories, but I do want to at least one question on the plane crash.
Yeah,
Now try not to cry even saying this. We had Artemis Pyle call in. He gave his account of actually being on the plane. If folks want to look that up in the archives, I mentioned we talked to Don Barnes with 38 Special, and he told me a story that brought me to tears, and the whole internet. Everyone's commenting about it on YouTube. He was talking about the steel in your dad Lacey's spine when he said he had to go in the mortuary and see your brother, and then had to
sure.
go to the hospital to the band members that were fighting for their lives, recovering, and they
Yeah.
said, how's Ronnie?" And your dad had just somehow mustered. Tearing up now.
Mhm.
Somehow mustered the courage to say, "Ronnie's fine. You just get better." To give them some hope.
Sure.
Just I guess comment on your dad's strength through that, and also where were you during that
You
whole
know
thing?
what, man? I'm the one. Me and my dad had been working in the yard that day, and it was a little, it was getting dark. And we back then, man, we could leave our door open. We had a screen door,
Yeah.
and the TV was on, and we were out working in the yard. My dad said, "Hey, Johnny, the phone's ringing. Run in and get it." And so I ran in and picked up the phone, and it was Alan Walden, their old manager, and he said, "Hey, man, where's your dad? There's been a plane crash." And I looked over at the TV, and it was on the TV. So of course I hung up the phone and
Right.
hollered for my dad. And at that point in time, it was us at the house trying to get information. Uh, but it kept coming back that someone had died and they had no ID on them and they couldn't ID them. And Ronnie never carried no ID, so we
Right.
were all like, "It's him," you know. And
Yeah.
for me personally, it was a terrible night. I know that my brother would have wanted it to be him more than any of the other members, and unfortunately, because he was the commander in chief of the band,
Mhm.
and uh, uh, I don't know if he could have lived with Stevie Gaines gone and Cassie and the two
Right.
pilots and Dean Kilpatrick. So I know that he's in a great place, and but it destroyed not only our family personally, but it destroyed that Skinner family. And Skinner's always been a family.
Yeah.
Always. It was just a group of boys that lived in a neighborhood. And my dad was the most, what's the word for it? Pushed them. And for him to see this, it was just it was it was more than just our family. It was a
Mm.
big family that got affected that day,
Yeah.
and it was the Skinnerd family. And that's why in '87, whenever I walked into a room and I saw those guys, and they were all sitting there, and they were all very still young then too.
Yeah, you
Hell, they
forget how
wouldn't.
young all those kids
Yeah,
are kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
they wasn't much older than me. Ronnie was 29. Hell, he was the old guy. So
Ah.
Gary and Alan and them were what, 24, 25 years old in
Mm.
'87. And not yet, not older guys at all. And for
This
them
is
to
actually
ask,
10 years after the crash.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and for them to ask me to be a part of it, and me knowing that they were with Ronnie his whole life, and he was like a father figure. I couldn't turn them down, and I'm
Mhm.
so glad that I did it. I never wanted to be a part of Lynyrd Skynyrd. If I could write the book, there was a guy that I went and seen BB King, and there was a guy that came out with a towel and a red Solo cup for BB, and I said. I was sitting there and I went, I could have done that for
You
Ronnie.
wanted to be the Red Solo Cup guy? You could have written
you
it
know,
before Toby Keith. You could have been Red Solo Cup.
but it's been a wild ride, and it's had its ups and downs. And we lost Gary Rosington, the last original member.
Mhm.
Him and Ronnie and Alan started the band years
Mhm.
ago, along with Bob Burns and LJ. Larry Johnston was in the band at that time, and Ricky Medlock was in the band. So back then, and but to think of all the success and all the love that they brought people, and
Yeah.
all the great memories. I have so many people that just live for this, and I'm so glad that I've helped in a small way carry this on. All these years.